The biggest mistake I see is people not understanding niacinamide concentrations. Here's what happens when you layer too many actives. How to actually use niacinamide correctly. If niacinamide isn't working for you, don't despair. If you're using niacinamide and your skin is getting worse instead of better, you are not alone, and you're probably making one of the critical 5 mistakes I see every single day in my practice. Niacinamide has become the internet's favorite gentle ingredient, but here's the truth. You can absolutely ruin your skin if you're using it wrong, and most people are. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Weinstein, a board-certified dermatologist. Niacinamide is everywhere right now. It's in serums, moisturizers, cleansers, you name it. Everyone's calling it the holy grail ingredient that works for everyone, but I'm seeing more and more patients coming in with irritated, inflamed skin from niacinamide overuse and misuse. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what you're doing wrong and how to fix it before you damage your skin barrier permanently. Let's start with why everyone became obsessed with niacinamide in the first place. Social media convinced us that niacinamide is this miracle ingredient that shrinks pores, controls oil, fades dark spots, and reduces inflammation, all while being gentle enough for sensitive skin. Sounds perfect, right? The problem is that gentle doesn't mean foolproof. Just because an ingredient is generally well tolerated, it doesn't mean you can use it however you want without consequences. But that's exactly what's happening. People are treating niacinamide like it's water and wondering why their skin's freaking out. I've had patients coming in using 3, 4, even 5 different products with niacinamide, thinking more is better. They're layering niacinamide serums, using niacinamide moisturizers, washing with niacinamide cleansers, and then wondering why their skin looks worse than when they started. Here's what's really happening. Niacinamide works, but just like any active ingredient, it has its limits. Your skin can only process so much of it before any ingredient becomes counterproductive. Think of it like vitamins. So vitamin C is good for you, but if you take 10 times the recommended dose, you're gonna have problems. The skincare industry has capitalized on niacinamide's reputation as a safe ingredient by putting it in everything. But just because something is in a product doesn't mean that it's at an effective concentration, and just because you can use multiple products doesn't mean you should. The biggest mistake I see is people not understanding niacinamide concentrations. The effective range for niacinamide is typically between 2 to 10%, but most people have no idea how much they're actually using. Here's where it gets tricky. If your cleanser has 5% niacinamide and your serum has 10% niacinamide and your moisturizer has 5%, you're not getting 20% niacinamide. But you're definitely getting more than your skin can handle, especially if you're using all 3 products twice a day. I've seen people using The Ordinary's 10% niacinamide serum, which is already at the high end of the concentration range, and then layering it with another niacinamide product. That's a recipe for irritation, even with a gentle ingredient. The sweet spot for most people is between 2 and 5% niacinamide once or twice daily. But here's the problem. Most products don't clearly state their niacinamide concentration. You might think you're using a gentle amount when you're actually overdosing your skin. High concentrations of niacinamide can cause flushing, redness, and irritation that looks exactly like the problems you were trying to solve in the first place. I've had patients think their acne was getting worse when it was actually niacinamide irritation causing red, inflamed bumps. The solution? Pick one niacinamide product and use it consistently rather than layering multiple products with the same ingredient. If you're using a 10% serum, you don't need niacinamide in your cleanser and moisturizer too. This brings us to mistake number 2, improper layering. Niacinamide might be compatible with most ingredients, but that doesn't mean you should use it with everything at the same time. I see people using niacinamide with vitamin C, retinol, AHA, BHA acids, and benzoyl peroxide all in the same routine. While these combinations aren't necessarily dangerous, they can be overwhelming for your skin and reduce the effectiveness of each ingredient. Here's what happens when you layer too many actives. Your skin barrier becomes compromised, leading to increased sensitivity, redness, and irritation. Even gentle ingredients become irritating when your skin barrier is damaged. The pH issue is real too. While niacinamide is generally stable across different pH levels, some combinations can reduce its effectiveness. Using it immediately after a strong acid treatment, for example, might not give you the best results. But the bigger issue is that when you're using multiple actives, you can't tell which one is helping and which one might be causing problems. If your skin gets irritated, how do you know if it's the niacinamide, the retinol, the vitamin C, or the combination? My recommendation, introduce one active ingredient at a time and give it at least 4 to 6 weeks to show results before adding anything else. This way you can actually assess what's working for your skin. Mistake number 3 is assuming niacinamide works the same for everyone. The internet loves to say niacinamide is good for all skin types, but that's oversimplified and potentially harmful advice. While niacinamide is generally well tolerated, some people are more sensitive to it than others. I've seen patients with rosacea or very sensitive skin develop increased redness and irritation from niacinamide, even at the lowest concentrations. People with oily skin often think they need high concentrations of niacinamide to control oil production, but sometimes less is more. Overtreating oily skin can actually trigger more oil production as your skin tries to compensate for being so stripped. I tell this to my patients all the time. Dry skin types make a different mistake. They think niacinamide will solve their dryness problems. But niacinamide alone isn't a really great moisturizing ingredient. It can help improve barrier function, but you still need proper hydration and occlusive ingredients. Here's something most people just don't realize. Your skin's tolerance to niacinamide can change based on other factors like hormones, stress, weather, and what other products you're using. Just because you tolerated 10% niacinamide last year doesn't mean your skin can handle it now. The key is paying attention to how your skin actually responds rather than following generic advice. So if your skin's getting red, irritated, or breaking out more after starting niacinamide, that's your skin telling you to back off. Mistake number 4 is having completely unrealistic expectations about what niacinamide can actually do. Social media has turned niacinamide into a miracle cure that supposedly fixes every skin concern instantly. Let me be clear about what niacinamide can actually do. So it can help regulate oil production, it can reduce the appearance of pores, fade some types of hyperpigmentation, and support the skin's barrier function. But it's not going to transform your skin overnight, and it's not going to fix deep wrinkles, severe acne, or significant sun damage. I see people expecting niacinamide to work like a prescription medication. They want to see results in a week or 2, and when they don't, they increase the concentration or add more niacinamide products. This is exactly how you end up with irritated, damaged skin. Real results from niacinamide can take 8 to 12 weeks of consistent use. And even then, the changes are usually subtle. Slightly smaller looking pores, a bit less oiliness, some fading of dark spots. It's not going to give you Instagram filter skin. Another unrealistic expectation is that niacinamide will work the same for everyone. Your friend might see amazing results from a 10% niacinamide serum, but that doesn't mean it's going to work the same for you. Skincare is individual, and what works for one person might be completely wrong for another. The most dangerous expectation is that gentle means more is better. People think they can use unlimited amounts of niacinamide because it's not as harsh as retinoids or acids, but overuse of any ingredient can cause problems. This brings us to mistake number 5, the purging myth. I constantly hear people say their skin is purging from niacinamide, but here's the truth. Niacinamide doesn't cause purging. Purging happens with ingredients that increase cell turnover, like retinoids and chemical exfoliants. These ingredients bring underlying clogs to the surface faster, causing temporary breakouts before improvement. But niacinamide doesn't work this way. If your skin is breaking out or getting irritated after niacinamide, that's not purging. That's irritation or maybe an allergic reaction. And continuing to use the product thinking it'll only get better is going to make things worse. I've seen people push through months of irritation thinking they're purging from niacinamide, when they're actually damaging their skin barrier and creating long-term problems. Real purging from appropriate ingredients lasts about 4 to 6 weeks maximum. So if you're still having problems after that, it's not purging. The signs of niacinamide irritation include redness, burning, stinging, increased breakouts, or rash-like appearance. These are not normal reactions, and they're not going to resolve if you keep using the product. Some people are simply sensitive to niacinamide, and that's okay. Like I said, not every ingredient works for every person, despite what the internet might tell you. If niacinamide consistently irritates your skin, stop using it and find alternatives. Now let's talk about how to actually use niacinamide correctly. First, start with a lower concentration. 2 to 5% is plenty for most people. You can always increase later if needed, but you can't undo irritation from starting too strong. Choose one niacinamide product rather than layering multiple products. If you're using a niacinamide serum, you don't need it in your cleanser and moisturizer too. Let one product do the work. Introduce niacinamide slowly. Start using it every other day for the first week, then daily if your skin tolerates it well. Don't jump straight into twice daily use, even if the product instructions say you can. Pay attention to what you're layering with niacinamide. While it's generally compatible with other ingredients, using too many actives at once can overwhelm your skin. Keep your routine simple when introducing any new active ingredient. Apply the niacinamide to clean, dry skin and wait a few minutes before applying other products. This gives it time to absorb properly and reduces the risk of interactions with other ingredients. Monitor your skin's response carefully. If you notice any irritation or redness or increased breakouts, back off immediately. Don't push through just thinking it'll get better, because niacinamide irritation usually gets worse, not better, with continued use. Let's talk about when you should avoid niacinamide altogether. If you have very sensitive skin or conditions like rosacea, start with patch testing at very low concentrations. Some people with these conditions find that niacinamide increases redness and irritation. If you're already using multiple active ingredients like retinoids, vitamin C, and chemical exfoliants, adding niacinamide might be overkill. Sometimes less is more in skincare, and a simple routine with fewer actives can be more effective than a complex routine with everything. Pregnant and breastfeeding women often turn to niacinamide as a safe alternative to retinoids, but even safe ingredients can cause problems if overused. So stick to lower concentrations and simpler formulations during this time. If you have a history of contact dermatitis or allergic reactions to skincare products, introduce niacinamide very carefully. While allergic reactions to niacinamide are rare, they do happen. People with compromised skin barriers from overexfoliation or other damage should focus on barrier repair before adding new actives, including niacinamide. Sometimes your skin needs a break from all actives to heal properly. If niacinamide isn't working for you, don't despair. There are other ingredients that can provide similar benefits without the potential for irritation. For oil control and pore appearance, salicylic acid can be very effective, though it requires more careful use than niacinamide. Zinc-based products can also help with oil regulation. For hyperpigmentation, vitamin C, kojic acid, or arbutin might work better for your skin than niacinamide. These ingredients work through different mechanisms and might be more effective for your specific type of pigmentation. For barrier support and general skin health, ceramides, hyaluronic acid, and peptides can provide benefits without the risk of niacinamide sensitivity. The key is finding what works for your skin, not what works for everyone else on the internet. Here's the bottom line. Niacinamide is a good ingredient, but it's not a miracle cure, and it's definitely not foolproof. The biggest mistake people make is treating it like it's impossible to use wrong. Stop layering multiple niacinamide products. Stop using concentrations that are too high for your skin. Stop expecting overnight miracles, and stop pushing through irritation thinking it's normal. Niacinamide works best when used thoughtfully and consistently, not when thrown at every skin concern at high concentrations. Are you making any of these niacinamide mistakes? Have you experienced irritation from niacinamide that you thought was normal? Drop a comment below and let me know your experience. I read every single comment, and I love helping people troubleshoot their routines. If this video helped you understand why your niacinamide routine might not be working, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more evidence-based skincare that cuts through the internet hype. Remember, good skincare is about using the right ingredients in the right way for your skin. It's not about following every trend or using every popular ingredient. The best thing you can do for your skin is use less, not more.